Have you ever had one of those late nights, staring at the ceiling, just wondering, are we preparing our kids for the right world? Well, today's explainer comes from one parent's journey right down that rabbit hole. We're going to explore how we can arm the next generation with a kind of shield against this coming wave of AI automation. So, let's dive in and try to figure this out together.
Look, this isn't some dramatic Terminator is coming sci-fi movie. The threat? It's much quieter than that. It's polite. And honestly, it's already here. It's that creeping feeling that the very jobs our kids are studying for might just be systematically dismantled by a friendly little user interface. It's a massive change, and it's happening right under our noses.
And that leads us right to the big central question, the one that keeps you up at night. All of our systems, our schools, our parenting advice, you name it, they're all still running on an old script. But what if that script was written for a world that's just vanishing? What is the future we're actually getting them ready for?
You know, for generations, there's been this really clear recipe for success, a playbook that was passed down from parent to child. It was solid, it was tested, and for a long time it really worked. But the game has totally changed. I mean, you know these steps by heart, right? Study hard, get the good grades, learn a technical skill, maybe something like coding, add in a sport or an instrument for good measure, and then you stack it all up really neatly on a resume. That was the formula. The problem is, AI is getting incredibly good at checking off these exact same boxes, especially the technical ones. So why is all of this happening at lightning speed? It's not just that some new tech popped up. There are these really powerful market forces at play that are creating this immense pressure to adopt AI, whether we're ready for it or not. And the biggest driving force here? It's a massive collective case of corporate fear of missing out. Seriously, companies aren't sprinting into AI because they're evil. They're just doing what the market rewards them for. And if there's a way to slash costs or speed up output, the pressure to go for it is just enormous. Think about it. Investors are valuing companies based on these super aggressive AI adoption plans. It creates this kind of financial echo chamber that just amplifies the pressure. And who's in the middle of all this? The workers. Sure, companies might offer some upskilling programs, but here's the catch. Nobody is driving you to class. If you don't take the initiative yourself, you risk falling behind. And not because you're bad at your job, but just because the machine is moving faster.
Now, this pressure to automate found a very unlikely partner in another huge shift we all went through, remote work. What felt like a total gift for so many people during the pandemic, well, it had this quiet, unintended consequence. It actually made some jobs way easier to automate.
Okay, what's so fascinating here is how this slide really breaks down that change. So take a consultant, for example. They used to be a trusted advisor. They'd walk the halls, read the room, build relationships in person. But remote work kind of flattened that role into an analyst behind a monitor. Suddenly, the job became about documents, Zoom calls, and analytical tasks. That human element, it got thinned out.
So this is the crucial point right here. AI is absolutely brilliant at analysis, at the kind of work that lives in documents and spreadsheets and on screens. But you know what it's terrible at? Building trust. When a job becomes just a series of isolated, low-relationship tasks, it gets vulnerable. Humanity and your job security, it lives in those messy, real human relationships.
So if you can't outcompute the machines, what do? Well, you don't even try. You out-human them. It's time to build the shield, that collection of skills that keeps you firmly and safely out of automation's direct line of fire. And this just lays it out so perfectly. Machines are masters of computation, pattern recognition, all that data processing stuff. But they can't build trust. They can't mediate a conflict between two emotional colleagues. They can't read the subtle tension in a room, or persuade someone, or show genuine compassion. See, people become replaceable when they start acting like machines. They stay essential when they do what only humans can. So these are the parts of your shield, the ability to navigate total ambiguity, to speak with nuance, to take real, genuine responsibility, to connect the dots that aren't even in the data set. And let's be clear, these are not soft skills. They are the most durable, the most valuable, and the most irreplaceable assets any of us have. Which brings us right back to where we started, our kids. If the world they're about to walk into is fundamentally different, then we have to give them something more than just that old playbook. We need to teach them the stuff that actually lasts. And here's a pretty radical thought. What if AI's productivity actually lifts everyone up?
So much so that the 60-hour work week becomes a relic of the past. What if the real measure of a successful life shifts away from salary and status and moves toward fulfillment and happiness? I mean, if that's even a remote possibility, then the way we prepare has to change, right?
Because in that world, and frankly, in any world, these are the skills that are really going to matter. Curiosity, resilience, compassion, creativity. Knowing how to build a community, how to find joy in things, even knowing how to properly rest and how to feel fulfilled. These aren't job skills. These are the skills of a well-lived life, no matter what the job market looks like. Ultimately, we can't stop this technological wave. It's coming. That's not in our control. But what we can do is give our kids the balance, the resilience, and the skills to ride it. We can teach them how to surf. And just as importantly, we can teach them what to do when they inevitably wipe out. By focusing on what makes them deeply, wonderfully human, we prepare them for any future that comes their way.